just on the stage for entertainment purposes, and he would put subjects up on stage and they would go under. He decided to bring in a production company to shoot his show so he could put a video out, VHS in those days, try to get more promotional opportunity. The people that came in to shoot it was called Real Effects, R-E-E-L, Effects. Real Effects did all the special effects on Part 4 with Ted White. So they suggested to the hypnotist that they do a breakaway screen and have Jason break through and scare the subjects. Well, let's take CJ's big ass, because we have the wardrobe from Ted White, put him in the wardrobe and break through the screen. When I busted through the screen, and I look at you and I say this, the rest is history, they kept saying, we're going to cast you for Jason, we're going to cast you for Jason. And guess what? Here we are.
See, what you're saying right there is pretty awesome. So, an actor that does his own stunts, back to that for a second. Were there any stunts in Friday the 13th or any of your movies that you're like, that was really difficult, but it was definitely rewarding to do? So, can you tell us about one of your own stunts that you've done in the past?
Well, you know, I did all my own stunts. Were any of them rewarding? I guess. I never thought about it. You know, I'm in my 20s. I'd only been out in the military a short time. I thought I was a badass. You know, they set me on fire. Okay. Every time they did it, they gave me again. I said, okay. Go through the wall if you can. Go through with one blowout. Hit your footing so they don't fall on either side. Because if you do one take, it saves tens of thousands of dollars because we don't have to reset up the falsified wall. So, did anything resonate? Not really. I mean, I was just there to do a job, and it didn't dawn on me at the time that, you know, you're 20 feet underwater, you turn off a regulator, or you see flame coming over the front of your mask, and you're like, okay. Looking back on it now, I'm pretty proud of it because, again, I've never been done. When I was doing a panel recently, about a year ago, not a couple years ago, and three of the other guys were there, Kane Hodder, a couple other Jasons. They each talked about their stunt school that they had been to. And then when it came to me, I was like, well, I didn't go to stunt school. And Kane was looking at me, what? Yeah, Kane, I said, I didn't go to stunt school. He said, you never went to uni? No, I just climbed on stage and did my job. So even Kane was impressed that I had never been to school for any stunts or any of that. It was just, here you go, can you do this? We'll do that, we'll do this, okay. We're going to hook the cable in your back, shoot you with a shotgun, you're going to fly through the air. Okay. It was interesting, challenging, but at the time it didn't dawn on me. It dawned on me at all.
Anybody else? No?
Did you want to keep IAJs in your future movies?
I didn't care one way or another. I was slotted for 7. Kane Hodder will tell anybody in the room because he's put it on tape, so and I knew it, so did he, that they were satisfied with part 6 and said just use 7. CJ, Kane is a huge horror fan, just so you know, huge horror fan. So Kane had to go to John, who was the director, who Kane had worked with, to convince John, and then John had to go to Paramount and convince Paramount that he wanted this guy, which is very common. And the rest is history. He did them all the way through. Freddy versus Jason, management came back attached and said, hey, are you interested? Because they wanted to go to a bigger Jason. At the time, I was the chief operating officer, general manager of 2 casino resorts. There's no way I'm going to leave a paycheck of that magnitude to go do a little movie. So I passed on that opportunity.
Anybody else? No?
My favorite kill is simple. It's the sheriff. There's no blood, no guts, just pure power. You know, you flip somebody over backwards and break them like a toy. Cool. You know, but there's no blood, no guts, no special effects. It's just power.
So I see from 1974 to 1978 you were in the military. Thank you for your service. Thank you. A round of applause for that. Before you came on stage, I got to talk to some of our audience, and some of our audience is military. So, what made you want to go into the military? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the judge gave me a choice. It's this or that. I took that and never went back. So, answer that question quickly, right, folks? So, we got any Navy guys in here? Any fake?
Mom.
That's close enough. You serve, thank you for your service. We got any wannabe Marines? I call them Navy people too, you know. Because they said Department of Navy on their paycheck. Come on, Marines, don't be proud. And then we got, of course, grunts, infantry, army, yada yada.
Anybody got some questions? There we go. Come on.
Yeah, I'm walking characters that you play. You have like favorite one that was Jason, Elias, or Pop.
Do you have any favorite characters that you play? Jason, or like what other parts in the movies? Like what's been a
No,
favorite
I'm
character?
sorry. Hearing sucks, man. You know, infantry. You know, I didn't really take it seriously. I don't take it seriously now, as you can tell. I'm very proud that I did it. I'm very proud of what I did for my person. But it wasn't my career. It wasn't my choice. I was picked, selected, got lucky, did Highway to Hell, did a few national commercials, AT&T, Colgate, Gatorade, Ford Miller, you know, and went back to the casinos in 91 or 92 and stayed in the casino industry for about 20 some odd years, where I retired as the chief operating officer, general manager. So, I mean, I can't put a finger on something, to be fair. I had a good time, it was fun. Since I retired a few years ago, I've done a couple, you know, independents, fan films, whatever you want to call them, you know, playing Jason's father, Elias Voorhees, Team Fanboy with Corey Feldman and Ian Otter and much others. So for me, I just enjoy it and have fun with it. You know, Teddy made me do it. But, you know, so there's some fun parts I do, but it's not my necessity or my love, my passion. It's my enjoyment. It's fun. If they pay me great, if they don't, I don't care. I'm having fun. So you need to be older. Your appreciation changes, and if you played your cards right, no puns intended, you should be okay.
Very good. Anybody else?
I do actually. I see from my Friday the 13th. Yeah, I just saw Tom Matthews last weekend at a show. He sat next to me. Sometimes I see Darcy, comic law from the writer director. Once a year, I'll do a convention with Alice Cooper. And put full wardrobe on, do photos with the fans, me and Alice Cooper. So yeah, surprisingly, and then I do see the others. Gary Mears, Ian Otter, you know, when Ted was alive, and Steve Bass was alive, and Richard was alive, you know, I see them. Tom's still out there, Morgan, if you know who he is. And then of course I see everybody from Tyler, Maine, you know, the Michael Myers, you know, you guys know Michael Myers, you know him? You do know that real men use a machete, not an Outback steak knife. You know that, right? And Scream, you know, I don't use a butter knife.
Just waiting for you.
No butter knife. And I don't see anybody with a pedophile on their shirt, thank goodness. Butter knife. I don't see no pedophile out there for those of you like Freddy Krueger. Alright? So just put that out there.
Very good, very good. Anybody else? Laura?
So I've been to 3 of these and I've seen your interactions with fans and I've seen you take videos for fans that couldn't be here. Do you have a favorite fan moment?
Every single one of you, to be fair. Listen, I'm very humble to be here. It's called luck. So I honor it when I get to talk to people. Sometimes people don't get to have their, like, here's what, I love to pick on Marines, okay? I love to pick on, right? We love to pick on Marines. So if you tell me, well, God, my son or my brother or my husband, God, they're a Marine or my dad's a retired Marine, let's call them. Let me talk to that Navy guy. And when I get them on the phone, you know, they all, oh, Marine, never. You know? So I explain to them, and then I lock their heels at 10 shut and remind them in the right top corner said Department of Navy on their paycheck. And they kind of go, right? So I try to do as much as I can. Sometimes, you know, I don't charge for selfies. It's just the way it is. You want to take a selfie, it's free. I don't. Just me, I can't do it. If you're active in the military, got your ID, come take a photo with me and grab a photo off the table, autograph it for free. You can't charge active duty because those women and men are giving me this microphone. So I do things differently. You're a vet, you suck just like me. Sorry, you didn't get shit, but I will say thank you. And when you're a member of a family member that served, I always say thank you for your service because you served just as much as that active duty person as your children did. People forget about you. very low key about what I do, so my extensive appreciation goes beyond just, shaking hands and doing silly stuff on videos. And I gotta, this young man right here, stand up. Yesterday he came up to me, he had a pedophile on his shirt. And he had yellow hair. I said, son. So I went over and bought him a shirt, brought it to him, and said, take that shirt off and give it to me. I put it in the garbage, he put it on his Jason shirt. And lo and behold, shocked the shit out of me. I look over there, his hair's all combed, and he got the white shit cut out of it. Right? Now, if you go over there by the guy doing razor shaves right now, there's a young man over there, 16. He's trying to grow some peach fuzz, right? Got a little fuzz going on. So I just said to the shave guy, hey, how much? So he's $15. Done. Sit down. I'm going to do a panel. Paid him $20. Said keep the 5. Cut the shit off that 16-year-old. So he's over there getting fuzzed down, right? Now I don't do it because I'm being rude, but sometimes people like him. He's a handsome man. He's 12. He's available, by the way. 13. He's available, ladies. Anybody wants to know? He's trying to look him up. He'll take older women too. So, right on? Gotcha, bro. Thumbs up, right? And the man over there is 16. He's got all this fuzz. But I'm not being a douchebag or a jerk. I just want, hey, guy, it ain't happening yet. Let's shave it, right? And they do. I mean, when I see somebody, there's somebody in here I did this to. Somebody in here's got a nose ring, and I said, hey, what's that booger hanging out of your nose? You know who you are. Yes, I'm for you. So I have people that come up with a booger in their nose, and I cut them a deal. Tell you what, I'll give you a free autograph photo if you take that booger out for a week. All right, now I've had them do it right there, take it out, they get their free autograph, and I've had them on the show come back and say they have so many compliments that they never put it back in. There's nothing wrong with that. Look at me, I'm old and ugly and stupid. It's okay. Call me the R word, I don't care. Point is, you have fun with them, compliment them. He's a handsome man, he's having fun, he gets kind of red in the face. But at the end of the day, when he's 30, he's going to remember this. He's going to remember the crazy stuff that I did to him trying to find him a girlfriend this weekend. Right? And it's just, it's humorous, but it's fun. But I would never intentionally hurt somebody's feelings. Intentionally. So I'm trying to be very careful, but I push it right to the envelope. Because I am 67, so if you hit me, it's a felony. Just so you know. I'm just telling you now, so piss off. You have to be our age, right? Mm-hmm. We can tell them, you hit us, it's a felony. Think about that. Go ahead. Best shot.
So it's pretty impressive. Like, I have some questions written down, but I'm just going to be organic right now. A couple years ago we met. You gave me some great life advice. You've done some great movies. You own a casino. You run some casinos, your nightclub. All of that. All of it. Could you give our audience some of your life wisdom? Because I remember a couple years ago, this man right here, he told me to just be myself, look out for myself, and you'll be okay. So just know who you are at the end of the day. Because I've done this kind of 3 straight years, and CJ right here has given me so much more confidence, more reassurance in myself. So CJ, can you bestow some of your wisdom on?
Let's put it this way, guys. I ran $1 billion casino resort. Back. Look it up. CJ Graham, casino executive. I have a high school diploma. I didn't go to college, but I do have a 4-year military degree with an honorable discharge. I have a PhD in common sense. Apply it. That's all I can tell you. Take your time and apply it. As far as advice, listen, sometimes you get lucky like I did. Remember that. There is not necessarily right or wrong, but there are different ways to do things. Just remember, and I always say this very simply, 2 + 2 = 4. That's what they teach you in college and school. But remember, 0.25 and 3.75 also equals 4. Alright? Sounds really stupid. So, qualify, quantify, simplify. 3 words. Don't make it complicated. Alright? But I don't know a lot, but I've learned a lot because I've learned a lot from good people. And what I try to do is pass it on. Do I preach? Not really, because I've done some junk shit. I'll be the first one to admit. But at the same time, leadership takes time and patience. Dictatorship is easy to make you a dick. Alright? Now you smile when I say that, but it's a fact. Right? So if you can learn to lead, and lead is by leadership, without the dictatorship leadership mentality. I don't have all the opinions. Black and white is black and white, but somewhere in the middle of the rainbow with a color to it. If you can find a moderation somewhere between your black and white idea, whatever those colors are, you'd be surprised at the return of the investment that you're going to get. People will step in front of a bullet for you because you're a leader, not because you're a dictator, because you're an LT or whatever. I was a sergeant. So to try to neutralize that, don't take it too personal. You know, everybody makes mistakes, so relax.
Fantastic. Anybody else? Okay. So, you've worked with a lot of famous actors in your time. Very impressive. Is there any actor or actress, dead or alive, that inspired you? Two-part question. Inspired you that also you may have wanted to work with if you had the chance to?
Well, you know, I'm old, so I'm into universal horror. I love the old black and white Lon Chaney, you know, Boris Karloff, black and white, Mummy, Dracula, you know, the werewolf, because that was some serious creativity. But if you notice, a lot of you are coming back to B movies. What I mean by that is, the Fast and Furious, great franchise. How many times can you jump out of a plane or get a parachute, land on a tank, do a backflip, pick up a 50 cal machine gun and start shooting? But with the windows up, open the door, and Jason's standing there. Camera's on your expression. Camera goes down and you're feet in the floor. Camera goes up and the machete goes through your throat. Think about that. The impact. Right? And it's so much more powerful than some of these great flips that are out there because of what they're using. So I think the simplicity would be like the old school black and whites. If I ever see a movie come on 35, 1940, and it's a horror movie, I've got a box. It's just so you see all the shadows in the back, the lighting is on. That's a movie maker, you know. It doesn't need to be perfect. You guys know with those phones today, you can launch missiles if you wanted to, and you could really edit down some pretty good films with those phones if you know what you're doing. But you know, I'm pretty simple. As far as an actor, dead or alive, you know, I've never. My era, we used to always look up to people. My era, if you were an athlete, part of your job was to be a role model. It's not kind of the way it is today. So your role models you have to identify. You know, like they show them how to be a role model because they picked on it, fun. But that's cool. But in my day, when you were Will Chamberlain and those others, you were expected to be a role model. That was part of your paycheck. Today it's kind of the me, M-E, right? Guys, remember, M-E. Take the M, turn upside down 180 degrees, and it becomes a W. Wait. Wow, that was hard. See what I'm saying? Qualified, quantified, simplified. Don't make it complicated.
Fantastic. Anybody else? Okay, we got another one. So, also, when you get into character for Jason, let's say, for example, do you have any rituals, traditions that you do that helps you get into character? Do you use some music? Do you play a certain song? Do you do a punching bag? Or like, what gets CJ Graham into character? Like, okay, now I gotta go out on stage and perform my act.
I pee. No, I don't have a ritual, guys. It's a switch. I go to work. Like I said, qualified, quantify, simplify. Flip the switch, go into character. The interesting thing about being an actor that wears a hockey mask and does not speak or does not use expressions, I challenge anybody in this room to sit in front of a mirror tonight and argue with the reflection. But remember, you can't say anything. You can't move your eyes, you can't move your cheeks, you can't do anything except move your head or your body language. And argue with yourself. It ain't easy. Right? So when somebody stands up and just stands up, it's got nothing to do with if I'm big or not. It's how you plant your feet and stand and you take a position. I own this territory right now. I'm not bad. It's just I own this territory. So when you do those things, people just kind of let you go, damn. You go talk to him. I ain't gonna talk to him. You're not gonna do it, but when you think about it, it's very difficult. And people think it's hard. It is. You only can see out of this part of your eye. You can't see your feet when you're walking. So you see 10 feet in front of you with one eyeball. You have no peripheral vision on either side. and your job is to be a VA and walk without falling, because you don't see your feet going down. So every time you put your foot out, you got to make sure that it's a solid plant. So when you think, God, he walks really firmly, well, part of that's a military 30 inches all around. But the other part is if you don't put your foot down and you hit a stone or a bush or something, you will fall over. So you better make sure you plant your foot each time.
Just like this, right?
You got to be taller.
That's right. I can't help that. So, like my feet. Nope, didn't work. Alright, so, alright, next question.
Feet are too far apart.
Okay, size 8.5, man. You told me one time. Alright, so, as you see, I have all these tattoos on my arms and my legs. I'm so tatted up, right? We have a tattoo artist here. Tell us something about your tattoos here.
Mine are, I've got a Norwegian background, meaning I'm 43% Viking type old school and 43% British. Go back 1,000, 1,500 years ago, they used to marry mothers and daughters and sisters trying to bring into one king. So I'm half and half pretty much, and then some change in between. So I had an opportunity to do tats, but I had a very good opportunity that I had one artist that I dealt with. So he drew everything up first, and then for 3 to 6 hours every Tuesday for 9 weeks, I went in to get my tats done. So we all know they're expensive, so I was very fortunate I had the $5 to do it. But I was also very fortunate that I could sit there every week for 9 weeks to get it done. Because artists are different. You go to different artists, you see a different tat, different clarity, different the way they lean on it, different needles, different ink has changed over the years. So mine are pretty informative. And then on my back, for you soldiers, from my spine all the way down is a helmet with an M16 and a pair of boots. You should know what that means. Then on each shoulder, about the size of a 45 record, I've got eagles. So on my back is military army.
Awesome. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Yeah, what would work with Rorschach?
Kill the bitch. You know, cold is hard. You know, the sad thing going back to the Friday the 13th, in those days, they wouldn't allow you to show the different blood, all the things you see on normal TV today, let alone abroad. All right? So there's the scene where I pull the heart out, and there's actually where they cut it with the heart beating and the blood pushing out of the artery. It was really cool. But they had to take it out because it would have been X-rated in those days, where today you could do that. You have to remember back in those days, it was tape. When they would cut that tape, they went on the ground. You ever seen the commercials sweeping up? That's true tape. So all that tape and all that extra editing went on the ground and was garbage. Now in today's elements, everything is digitalized, so they can go back and do the director's cut. So it's too bad that Tom McLaughlin can't go back and do the director's cut, because a lot of stuff that got dropped to keep it from an X-ray.
That's good. So CJ, you're very busy. You're doing a lot of different projects every time. When CJ wants to unwind, what does he like to do to unwind, to get away? Do you like to work out? Do you go kayaking? Do you, like I said, what do you do to unwind to recharge your battery?
I show horse shit. I'm serious. Now, I got a ranch, I got horses, these are boots. There's shit on the bottom, alright? So, I don't, what I do to unwind, I don't work out. I haven't been in the gym in a couple of years. I've been living on residuals. What I do is, I've got horses, I'll practice some bees. You harvest the bees, so not next week because I have to go to Spooky Empire, but the week after I got 2 weeks and I'm not doing anything, so I'll go into the beehives, get the honey out. When I get home, I've got pens to clean out, get the poop out for the horses, get the chips cleaned out so they're ready to go. There's a lot of things that I do, get the power washer out, clean out those water bins, get them fresh for them. So my thing is just manual labor. Running casinos with suit and tie, and now I just do manual labor, which I don't mind. My calluses aren't very big, but they used to be big when I was young.
Anybody else? All right. So, also, I have another question for you. So, if anybody wants to get in the acting industry, has anybody ever wanted to be an actor? Been in the movies? Okay. If anybody wants to try to get in that industry, I know you said you got lucky, but also you need to have some skill with it too. What advice could you give to some of the fans out here?
So I'm a poor person to give you advice on the acting industry, okay? To be fair. But I will tell you, one of the great people that I've had the opportunity to work with at the conventions, the people that I meet. You know, how often do you get to sit next to Alice Cooper, or the Fonz, or William Shatner, or Luther Rigno, like right next to you, touching you. You know, the Ramones, these are icons. So I'm the poorest person to ask the question because I was very fortunate. But I will tell you, like anything, you know, how to plan your plan and a backup plan is a backup plan. So I don't care if you want to be an artist, a boxer, a nurse. Which backup plan is the backup plan? Because things change. People change. People get married, they have babies. There's a variety of variables that happen in your life that, you know, shit happens and you change. So don't be stuck on one. But if you're going to do it, have the intent that you get lucky and fortunate, great. But you still got to support your family. I used to tell my son, I'm 29, and I still tell him the same. I don't care if you work at 7-Eleven. As long as you're happy, you can support your family. Real simple advice. So, whatever you want to do, if you think being an actor or an actress is going to make you satisfied and you can support your family, be happy, thumbs up. Some of the hardest acting in the world, people don't realize, is theatrical. Being on stage, when you go see a live show on stage, Christmas carols, those actors are different than actors in the movie. They're very, very good at what they do, number one. It's like, I've never watched a daytime soap opera, but that's got to be the hardest job in the world. They got to remember a whole series, all their lines, they got to improv, and they shoot every day. So, if you're going to do it, give it your best, but there's no such word as defeat. There's change. That's about all. You may change your direction, that doesn't mean you got defeated.
Anybody else got anything? Done.
You guys know Kane Hodder? What a jerk. Just kidding. Kane, I love you. Just let us know, bro. You're a hero. So, I love Kane, but I always rag on Kane because we're best friends. Like, I mean, his best friend is Steve, who he does shows with, but, you know, I've known the man since like 87, so I did a show with him. My very first show we ever did together was called Chiller. Must have been like 1990, the very first one we ever had. And I've known him all the years. You know, his birthday was recently. Happy birthday, yada yada. But I never really give him the time of day because I don't care. I mean, if you're a jerk, who cares? It affects my life. I'm still going home with my horses tomorrow, okay? And my wife. So I don't try not to get in my skin. Now, when I was younger, I'm not a whoop ass for being stupid. But as I've matured and now that I'm a senior citizen and get against felony, I got you. So I don't even have to get involved in a fight anymore because I already know I'm going. But you know, there are some, they're different, to be fair. But there's good people and bad people. Listen, I always say, you know, he was asking a question about philosophy and stuff. I don't say a race, a creed, a state, a country. I always say, I don't care if you're purple, green, or blue. I don't care if you're from Pluto, Venus, or Mars. I'll say it again. I don't care if you're purple, green, or blue. I don't care if you're from Pluto, Venus, or Mars. You got good people at that point. So to identify somebody for being from Alabama or from New York or from whatever, I don't do that. I got rid of that years ago because going back to what I said earlier, I would never intentionally hurt somebody's feelings. Make a smart remark about Oregon, then now you hurt somebody's feelings unintentionally. Now even if it's a deserved remark, it's not necessary. So purple, green, or blue, Pluto, Venus, or Mars, good people, bad people. Remember I said qualified, quantified, simplified? So my name is C.J. Graham, and I approve this message. Running for Congress.
2024.
And what, you know, it's funny because, you know, a couple years back they had all these problems with secret information, secret, they call it confidential neighbors and shit. So my wife and I decided to dispute it. We put it online. So I put the wardrobe on, made a few boxes in my closet, and pulled it out as Jason, right? So she took a picture of me behind a podium, the presidency, running for 2000, whatever it was, 20, and I reach into the drawer and pull out these photos, and all of a sudden confidential, you know, so I I must have confidential shit up in my garage or in my toilet, whatever. And I put it back in, I look at the camera, I'll just keep my day job. So, listen, you gotta laugh at yourself first, okay?
You're playing with that knife over there.
What am I?
So there's an old saying that I like to live by too. My parents always told me, you may not be the strongest or even the fastest, but nobody will ever outwork you. So you gotta believe that in yourself. You gotta take care of yourself. How about a time, can be in acting, can be in personal, that you really had to search for yourself. You're like, had to overcome. You're like, God, I'm so knocked down. I'm not gonna get back up. Like, can you give people some wisdom with that? And so like, you're like, wow, I'm defeated. I'm never gonna get back up from this. But you overcame something that you're very proud of.
I've never had that question before. I don't think I ever hit bottom, but I guess everybody has to define the word bottom. I don't take excuses lightly. My dad died when I was 3, so I don't want to hear that you didn't have a parent. My little brother died when he was 24, so I don't want to hear you had a death in the family. My daughter OD'd about 7 years ago, so I don't want to hear about an OD in your family. My mom died about 6 years ago, so I don't accept excuses, is what I'm trying to say. So, do I feel sorry for myself? Hell no. You know, am I badass? Yes, I am. And I look at people who start making excuses. There is no reason for an excuse. It's really your decision. You know, should I have let that affect me? Well, going back to the question, the judge kind of gave me choices, you know, when I was 17, so I went in the military 50 years ago. But that was the best choice I ever made, and never went back and just moved forward. I've always pushed forward. You know, if I wanted to be the chief operating officer, general manager, which was my goal when I became a security guard in casinos in 1980, 81, I succeeded. Did I get knocked down a couple times? People got hired above me who were favorites because they dated the vice president or played golf with the vice president. It happens. Get over it. All right? And I just kept pushing forward. Eventually, I became the vice president. All right? Now, when I became the vice president, I hired on merit. I didn't give a shit if you were purple, green, or blue, Pluto, Venus, or Mars. You got the job because you were qualified. You got the pay of what the job paid, regardless. Period. So when I do hear some of these war stories, I'm embarrassed for them because it's just not cool, number one. Again, you could be 5'6", or you could be 6'3". Pay is going to be the same. There was no discrimination. All right. So, but I think everybody gets some challenges. It's just how you know. I remember being teased because I didn't have a dad in school back in the '60s. You know, but okay, whatever. So there's a lot of people who don't have moms and dads. When people come to my table, and young people, the first thing I say, oh, okay, you with your mom? Do you have a dad? Or do you have a mom? And they kind of look at me like, well, yeah, well, I just want to know because what if they passed away and I go to say something and they lost their mom to something or they lost their dad. So I always ask, you know, mom or dad, you know, before I go into the next conversation with that little person, because that person is 10, 12, 15, 18, and when they hear direction from Jason, it blows their mind completely. Because I'm not your dad telling you what to do, I'm not the neighbor. I'm a completely stranger who, for whatever reason, you admire because of a character that killed 18 people and didn't go to jail. So I do try to use that as a positivity. Like I said earlier, in my era, if you were an athlete, part of your job was to be somebody to look up to for kids. You know, that was part of your job that came with being the athlete. It's not the same today. It's kind of like I said, that M turns upside down to a W and becomes we. So it's not real complicated.
Awesome. Anybody else? We have a couple minutes left. I figured. Go ahead, Mike.
Do you have like a favorite scene in Vengeance or Vengeance 2 that you have a favorite?
Vengeance 1 and 2 are independent films that I participated in. A gentleman named Jason Brooks, he was here last year.
Yep.
He played Jason and he shot it, did the directing, did all the above special effects, yada yada. He asked me if I would participate playing Elias Voorhees, Jason's father. So I grew a beard for like 5 months and they put the long scraggy hair like a Viking. Pretty cool, actually. The one thing I liked about it is in part 2, there was a fight scene with Tommy Matthews, who made a cameo. And I kind of had a brain squirt where I thought, hey, Jason, when you're fighting Tom Matthews as Jason Vengeance, what if you hit him, he goes down, he gets up, shakes his head, and Jason Part 6 is standing there in a wardrobe? Because I have a wardrobe. And he all of a sudden, they're gonna flash back to Jason 6, and then he's gonna get himself together, and then it's Jason Brooks. The cool thing is, when people see that, can't they go, is that Jason? Is that Part 6? Is that CJ that just popped on the screen? And it's kind of a freak out because all of a sudden you see Jason Brooks as Jason from Vengeance, Tommy Matthews from Part 6, and then all of a sudden Jason Voorhees from Part 6 makes a 10-second appearance on screen. So I think it's cool because it resonates and connects all the dots.
Anybody else? We got a couple time for 2 more questions. We want.
It varied, and the reason I said it, when we first got them, movies are shot out of sequence. They're not shot, like I said, the first scene was me stepping in the frame. But coming out of the grave, that complete wardrobe took about 4 hours to get all the makeup on and stuff. Now, once it was past that scene, the mask came on, they cut out. So it became a lot more easier because the mask had black nylons that girls wore in the backside with foam so you can see my eyes, and all I saw was fuzziness. And then all they had to do was blacken my eyes out a little bit, like I had black eyes, so that if there was any clarity coming through, you couldn't see me. So then it became easy. It's the same thing with Highway to Hell. It took 5 hours to put all the prosthetics on the entire time. And then it took another hour and a half to take all the prosthetics off every night.
You say in the past. Do you ever think about getting behind the camera and doing directing or anything like that? No. Perfect.
Why? Somebody else's job. I'm just here to have fun. And I'm Cindy Lauper. Girls just want to have fun. Right?
All right. Everybody give it a round of applause for CJ Graham. Make sure. Yeah.
5 to 7. All right.